I think it's safe to say that Baldur's Gate 3 is having quite the hell of a year. After coming out of early access, getting tons of praise from both the critics and the fans, and going home with Game of the Year at the Game Awards, I think most people are safe in assuming that it's gonna be the frontrunner going into the DICE Awards as well. But is all of that praise worthy to throw at the game itself? Or does it have shortcomings that keep it from being that great title that everybody is talking about? Well, let's find out.
I saved you. And I'm here to save you again.
Baldur's Gate 3 is the obvious third installment in the Baldur's Gate series, which is based off the Dungeons & Dragons tabletop game. The game itself has been in early access since 2020, but got its official release in 2023. The first two Baldur's Gate titles were created by BioWare, but legal shenanigans kept a third installment from ever being created. That is, until Larian Studios came along, and after proving themselves with Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2, were given the okay to create the Baldur's Gate 3 entry. Baldur's Gate 2 released back in 2000, which means it's been 23 years since that last entry. What is it with this year's Game of the Year nominees and long stretches of time in between releases? Anyway, as I mentioned, this is a huge success for Larian. This game's already won tons of Game of the Year awards, it's been getting tons of praise for the development. So is this really a pitch perfect 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, A+ game that you just can't ignore? Well, no, but it really doesn't matter because the elements that are there are just so strong that you have to go in and play it just to experience all the amazement that the game has to give. Your character has been infected by a parasite that transforms the host into mind flayers. These tentacle-like creatures work as a hive mind, eating the brains of others, infecting more people, and doing pretty much what the main brain wants you to do. And it won't be long before you become one of them. After escaping a mind flayer ship, you team up with other party members who have also been infected by the parasite to look for a way to cure yourselves of this problem. Where the story goes from there is up for you to decide. Many times games give you the illusion of choice, where they say, oh, you can go out and do anything you want, but your choices very rarely have an impact on the world around you or the story at large. Baldur's Gate 3 is one of those rare examples where just about everything you can think of, you can do. Want to murder everybody in your way, including your own party members? Go for it. Want to skip the bullshit and just go on an adventure? Sure. Want to try to sleep with everybody you can? The game is ready and willing. There are so many options on how to play that even if this type of setting and style aren't to your liking, you're bound to find something that intrigues you in this world, especially since it's populated by some truly interesting characters. From a devil that has taken an interest in you, to a carnival full of different species and personnel, you will find no shortage of individuals that you'll be tempted to interact with to find out more about. And no truer is this statement than with your own party members, all of which can be easily missed out on if you're not paying attention. But to do so would be a huge disservice, as a lot of these characters have some of the most interesting stories in the entire game. What quickly starts off as a mage or a thief for your party transforms into an individual that you care about, that you want to see their story all the way through to the end, and maybe even romance along the way. Did I mention this game was very horny? Because if you don't believe me, try having sex with a bear, because you most definitely can. Gameplay is typical turn-based strategy with the D&D flair. You roll a dice for everything, and whether you hit or not, for how much you hit, whether it has a status effect or not, is all determined by these rolls and amplifiers you have on. It may sound complicated, and if you really dive deep, it can be, but the beauty of it is that you don't need to keep track of these things if you don't want to. Just roll the dice and see what the outcome is. Though, sometimes it's funnier when you don't succeed in what you're doing.
You endanger the sick.
It's It's not all just sunshine and rainbows though, as I think the biggest problem the game has is just in how unfair certain encounters can get. It's easy to feel like a badass when you start to steamroll through enemy after enemy, especially towards the end of the game, only to then get hit by a bullshit encounter where you may be surrounded by all sides by an insane number of enemies, or have to fight off wave after wave of incredibly hostile enemies. And these are the moments that really frustrate me because they feel so unfair. Even lowering the difficulty doesn't save you from the grief, as a lot of these encounters were still goddamn hard even on the easiest difficulty. Thank God for save scumming. But if I'm being honest, that's really about the only thing in terms of negatives. There is the occasional technical hiccup, but at no point did this impede my progress or completely take me out of the experience, which I think is always the sign of a good game. When you can look past its faults and still enjoy the experience, you know you got a great product on your hands. And that's exactly what I got with Baldur's Gate 3. It made me appreciate my own D&D sessions a lot more, and give me more context onto how everything was run. It's made all the better by the fact that it doesn't have all the bullshit that is prevalent in a lot of games nowadays, especially in the AAA space. No microtransactions, no release it now, fix it later mentality, no cosmetic skins to purchase that try to nickel and dime you. This shows exactly how games of this ilk, of this magnitude, can be released. Heck, this started a whole argument with other developers scared that now people might expect that from them as well. And, well, first, yeah, they should, but second, this just goes to show that no matter what the corporate bigwigs say, titles like this can be released in today's market, no matter what they say or try to disprove otherwise. Even without all of that said, Baldur's Gate 3 is a fantastic experience, one that you can easily sink hundreds of hours into and still discover new things. And that's no joke. A recent article of someone experiencing just that proves the point. Whether you're a D&D aficionado or someone who has never thought about playing the tabletop iteration, this is a game you should try. Rolling a pretty dang good number, I give Baldur's Gate 3 a 4.5 out of 5 with a strong recommendation to buy it. Which is good, as this is another title you really can't get a physical copy to, unless it's the deluxe edition. A frightening trend as I'm now discovering. Look, anyway, it's not perfect, but what is there is just so strong that you'll be easily distracted by the fact that it's not. And quite honestly, that is a fantastic thing.
The rest, perhaps, is silence.
Yeah, so not quite the perfect 5 out of 5 score I'm sure many people were expecting, but look, it's a fantastic game that you definitely need to go play. I don't think this is going to be for everyone. I think there are moments that are really going to frustrate even the most hardcore D&D players, but I think it is still something you need to give a try to. Even if it's something that you just have no interest in whatsoever, trust me, you may very well find something that you greatly enjoy and maybe even spark your interest for the actual D&D game itself. I think that is reason enough to at least try it out. So that's about it, guys. That's my second review done and over with. So until tomorrow, everybody, please stay safe out there and have a good one.